Alright, Islam, all rise and face the east. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day. Through his holy prophet, Noble Ali. Amen. Islam. So if you would like to pray with us, how we pray is we have our feet on a 45-degree angle, right? We stand on our square. We have 2 fingers up on the right, 5 up on the left, okay? And so I just want to make a quick announcement that these meeting videos that I do are not technically meetings, right? Because when it comes to Moorish Science Temple America, we have organization, and part of that is how the meeting goes, and part of that is attendance, basically. So if you would like to attend the Moorish Science Temple America, and you want to be on the roster, right, and have your attendance taken, then you must attend a meeting, and I can link you with that. This is more of a study group, but it's a study group that is aligned to get the people ready to receive basically what it is that they need, right? The Moorish Science Temple America, so they are able to know what happens and what goes on when it comes to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Okay, so let's read the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Salvation, Allah, Unity. The Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended into his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Moslems all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is put in danger or accused falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. Islam. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black peoples, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live in the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Ali, the Prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and impartial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet Noble Ali through the guidance of his Father God Allah. Noble Ali, founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, home office of Noble Ali. The Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Circle 7. Divinely prepared by the noble prophet Ali, by the guiding of his Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his Father God Allah. Know thyself and Allah, the genealogy of Jesus, life and works of Jesus in India, Europe, and Africa, and the land of Egypt. Page 3. The Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet, page 3. Know thyself and thy Father God Allah. The genealogy of Jesus, with 18 years of the events, life, works, and teachings in India, Europe, and Africa. These events occurred before he was 30 years of age. These secret lessons are for all of those who love Jesus and desire to know about his life, works, and teachings. Dear readers, do not falsely use these lessons. They are for good, peace, and happiness, and all those that love Jesus. Dear mothers, teach these lessons to your little ones that they may learn to love instead of hate. Dear fathers, by these lessons you can set your house in order and your children will learn to love instead of to hate. The lessons of this pamphlet are not for sale but for the sake of humanity, as I am a prophet and the servant is worthy of his hire. You can receive this pamphlet at expense. The reason these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India, Islam, Egypt, and Palestine had these secrets and kept them back from the outside world, and when the time appointed by Allah, they loosened the keys and freed these secrets, and for the first time in ages have these secrets been delivered in the hands of the Muslims of America. All authority and rights of publishing of this pamphlet of 1927. Islam, no. Islam, no. Islam, no. No. Islam. By the Prophet, noble Jali, the industrious acts of the Muslims of northwest and southwest Africa. These are the Moabites, Hamathites, Canaanites, who were driven out of the land of Canaan by Joshua, and received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle in that portion of Egypt. In later years, they formed themselves kingdoms. These kingdoms are called this day Morocco, Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli, etc. Islam, the Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet, Chapter 19. Islam, happy holy day. Islam, the Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet, Chapter 19. Jesus appears fully materialized to the Eastern sages in the palace of Prince Ravana in India, to the Magian priest in Persia. 3 wise men speak in praise of the personality of the Nazarene. Ravana, prince of India, gave a feast. His palace in Orissa was the place where men of thought from all the further east were wont to meet. Ravana was the prince with whom the child Jesus went to India when 12 years old. The feast was made in honor of the wise men of the East. Among the guests were MSTA, Vidyapati, and Lamas. The wise men sat about the table talking about the needs of India and the world. The door into the banquet hall was in the east. A vacant chair was at the table to the east. And as the wise men talked, a stranger entered unannounced, and raising up his hands in benediction said, "All hail." A halo rested on his head, and light unlike the light of sun filled all the room. And Jesus sat down in the vacant chair, and then the wise men knew it was the Jewish prophet who had come. And Jesus said, "Behold, for I am risen from the dead. Look at my hands, my feet, my side. The Roman soldiers pierced my hands and feet with nails, and the one pierced my heart. They put me in a tomb, and then I wrestled with the conqueror of men. I conquered death. I stamped upon him and arose, brought immortality to light, and painted on the walls of time a rainbow for the sons of men. And what I did, all men shall do." The gospel of the resurrection of the dead is not confined to Jew and Greek. It is the heritage of every man of every time and clime. And I am here a demonstrator of the power of man. Then he arose and pressed the hand of every man and of the royal host, and said, "Behold, I am not myth made of fleeting winds, for I am flesh and bone and brawn, but I can cross the borderland at will." And they talked together there a long, long time. Then Jesus said, "I go my way, but you shall go to all the world and teach the gospel of the omnipotence of man, the power of truth, the resurrection of the dead. He who believes this gospel of the Son of Man shall never die. The dead shall live again. Then Jesus disappeared, but he had sown the seed. The words of life were spoken in Orissa, and all of India heard. The Magian priests were in the silence of Persepolis, and Casper and the Magian masters who were first to greet the child of promise in the shepherd's home of Bethlehem were with the priests. And Jesus came and sat with them. A crown of light was on his head. And when the silence ended, Casper said, "A master from the royal council of the Silent Brotherhood is here. Let us give praise." And all the priests and masters stood and said, "All hail! What message from the royal council do you bring?" And Jesus said, "My brothers of the Silent Brotherhood, peace on earth, goodwill to men. The problem of the age has been solved. A Son of Man has risen from the dead, has shown that human flesh can be transformed into flesh divine. Before the eyes of men, this flesh in which I come to you was changed with speed of light from human flesh, and so I am the message that I bring to you. To you I come, the first of all the race, to be transmuted to the image of Allah. What I have done, all men will do, and what I am, all men shall be." But Jesus said no more. In one short breath, he told the story of his mission to the sons of men, and then he disappeared. The Magi said, Some time ago we read this promise, now fulfilled upon the dial plate of heaven. And then we saw this man, who has just demonstrated unto us the power of man to raise from carnal flesh and blood to flesh of Allah, a babe in Bethlehem. And after many years he came and sat with us in these same groves. He told the story of his human life, of trials, sore temptation, buffeting, and woes. He pressed along the thorny way of life till he had risen and overthrown the strongest foes of Allah and man. And he is now the only master of the human race whose flesh has been transmuted into flesh divine. He is the God-man of today, but everyone of earth shall overcome and be like him, a son of Allah. These events occurred before he was 30 years of age, and the events after he had risen from the dead. He appeared back to India, Europe, and Africa in the land of Egypt, and made himself known unto the world. These events are the 18 years which are absent in your Holy Bible. The events of John the Baptist, John taught by the Egyptian sage, the meaning of baptism and how to baptize himself, and after he was baptized, he was taken at the age of 12 into Africa, the land of Egypt, and there he remained in the Egyptian schools 18 years. And there he learned his duty as forerunner of the Prophet of Jesus, Islam. Rise and give him praises to Allah, the great God of the universe, on this holy day in the holy month of Ramadan. Honors to the holy and divine Prophet Noble Jali. Honors to the forerunner of the Prophet, John come again, Marcus Garibay. Honors to all those unto whom honors are due, all prophets known and unknown, all kindred and kind spirits, and all those Muslims and Muslims all over the world who uphold the holy day and uphold it to the degree that it is supposed to be upheld. Okay, so today is Holy Day, right, in the holy month of Ramadan. And so what this chapter really illustrates is the fact that this last part right here, when it says in bold letters, these events occurred before he was 30 years of age, and the events after he had risen from the dead, right? We're talking about Jesus. He appeared back to India, Europe, and Africa, etc. These events are the 18 years which are absent in your Holy Bible. So when you have your Holy Quran Circle 7, this is supposed to be your foundation, right? And you're supposed to read this every day, right? If you're studying, right? In a Moorish American, you're supposed to read this every day. And this is what is going to help you to unlock the meaning, the true meaning of all the holy books, right? This right here, because in the back of it says this is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca, right? So that means that with this book, we're able to read it and go read the Holy Quran of Mecca and have a true understanding, right? So you read in the Quran of Mecca about the firmaments and how everything, right, the 7 firmaments, and how everything was created from the waters, right? The waters of the deep, or it just says probably the waters, right? So when you know your circle 7, you have your Moorish science, you know exactly what that means. There's no questions, no ifs, no ands about that, right? You see the 7 firmaments, 7 Elohim. You know, you can know exactly what's talking. When you see the waters, you know, water relates to wisdom. So when you have more science, you're able to go read any holy book and you're really able to understand it or understand it, right? You're able to actually extract information and extract knowledge out of it like a scientist, right? You're able to take data, put it into your mind and compute it, and it adds up. It makes sense, right? You have a result that is wisdom, right? The result is therefrom is wisdom. So it's very important to know more science, right? This gives you a good foundation, right? How can you know yourself, right, if you don't know your history? How can you know Allah, which is greater than yourself, if you don't know yourself, if you don't know your history? You're going to have a hard time. One like that, somebody like that is going to have a hard time trying to grasp unto Allah without proper knowledge of self, without knowing Allah for who Allah really is. And so that's why the Prophet said, if I can get you to think, you will save yourself, right? Even the Prophet himself could not save you. He brought you every tool that it takes to bring salvation to yourself. Every tool that it takes. One of the tools right here, which is one of the greatest works of the Prophet, is the Circle 7. This Circle 7 right here, this little tiny pamphlet. We study this thing back and forth. Very, very back and forth. Many, many years, right? 18 years. For 18 years. And this helps us to master ourselves, right? To know ourselves, so that no other spirit can come around and tell us anything about ourselves unless we give them permission to, unless we allow those spirits around, right? And so this is part of knowing thyself. It is knowing that there's actually parts of Jesus's life that we don't even know about. And why is that important in knowing yourself? Because Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, imitate I the prophet in my ways, be like unto me, right? And so how can we imitate the prophet if we don't know Jesus? And the Jesus and Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, I am Jesus come again, right? Well, a lot of people are looking for, you know, Jesus in the sky as the Revelations has told it in the Bible, and they don't know the true meaning of it. It's like Jesus has already walked this earthland. He has already came and bring salvation. Why would Allah send Jesus to this earthland, right? You're in Moorish science, you know key 7, right? What is key 7? Key 7, what is the duty of a prophet? To save nations from the wrath of Allah. Because with the demonstration of slavery, our people got into that situation, got into that judgment by straying away from God. So God said, we must correct this. We must fix this, right? This is what the study of self is for, is to look at the parts of yourself that need to be correct. The parts of your mind that need to be correct. The parts of your heart that need to be corrected. The parts of your body that need to be corrected. Because if this is your temple, if this is your vessel that you must live within, you want it to be a comfortable experience, right? So that's why we study the body. That's why we take care of the body, because the body has its own spirits. The flesh has its own carnal nature, and it will tell you itself, I am hungry, feed me. I want this, I do this. And sometimes you have to draw a circle and circumscribe your lower self, because sometimes it will run wild if you don't have your eye on it, right? If you're in that wilderness, right? If you haven't gone down into Egypt, right? And you're in that wilderness, you have to draw that circle around yourself in the sense of you need to circumscribe yourself and say, you know what? You are not hungry. You know what I'm saying? You have to be a master of your own self, right? People think that the power is in mastering others. However, the true power lies within mastering yourself, having true control of yourself, right? Having good spirits and being kind, that kind of stuff. And so basically, this chapter highlights that right there, that there's a part of Jesus that we may be missing, right? And so the book is out now, right? The revelation is out now, right? And the revelation is that Jesus, life is missing. He wasn't just a preacher, right? He wasn't just going off preacher. He went through tests. He went through trials, right? Just the same. I mean, but he was raised by, you have to look at his mother, right? And his father and his whole entire family. He had a family that loved Allah. He had a family that was in tune with Allah. So there's a lot of aspects of his childhood and his upbringing that we didn't see. And so we think that, our minds may not know that he was a young boy that was raised up into prophethood, right? So if you want to read more about the life of Jesus, to know thyself or to know Allah, because this could be helpful to your study of self, right? Friday is the day all about study of self, right? We stay out of things of the world. We don't go off into the marketplace. We don't go off doing business and focus on work and etc. We stay at home, we study self, and we go to our meetings, right? That is mandatory in the Moorish Science Temple of America. Mandatory Act 2, okay? That's mandatory. So if you would like to know, then of course everybody knows it's called The Aquarian Gospel of Jesus the Christ by Levi Dowling, right? And so this book right here takes you from the point where Mary conceived Jesus, way back then, before she even had him. And the angel came to her and said, you will have a son. And she was elated, right? She was like, oh my goodness. She was happy. And in that moment, she knew that she was going to dedicate her son to Allah, right? Dedicate her son to the East. And then on the other hand, you have, the upbringing of Jesus the Christ, when he was 7 years old, etc. Okay? So you get to know Jesus very well, and then how he found his disciples, right? Because it was a process. A seed, you don't plant it and it bears fruit overnight. You plant it, it grows, chapter 1, and it's a process, right? The brother demonstrated very heavily on that last time, okay? Islam to the brother grand, the Supreme Grand, okay? And so he demonstrated very well on that. Jesus had to go and find people to be on his team. He went to go find, I believe it was Peter. You have to read this to know it yourself, right? Man knows not by being told, but I believe it was Peter. Maybe it was Peter, and who was a tax person, and he said, hey, come with me, right? He put that away. He's not a tax person no more, right? And so it shows you how he found all his 12 disciples, because Jesus had 12 disciples. Okay, and another thing that this chapter really, really points out is the fact of the resurrection of the dead, right? Life hereafter. This is a fact, right? This is a fact that we will live again, right? Just like the Quran, Holy Quran Circle 7 says, he raises you from down out now what, and he can raise thee from down, and you have basically, you don't even know how this works, because our minds are finite. They are physical, so they are finite, but within us we have spirit, which is infinite, right? It's infinite. So there's a mix in us. We have a lower self and a higher self, or we have truth and falsehood, strangely mixed within us. So it's our duty in the study of self to cast off all of the lower self, wants, desires, and passions, and things like that, and be our higher selves. When we be our higher selves, this is being yourself. This is the most comfortable thing that you can do for yourself. This is the most freeing thing that you can do for yourselves, because we have the 5 highest principles known to man in the Moorish Science Temple of America, which is love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, right? 5 highest principles known to man: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, right? Because when you heard the word Moors, it's morals, right? Moors have morals. It's like the same word, right? We have standards, we have principles. And one of the principles that we have in our culture is that we must uphold the holy day. We must uphold our culture at all times. We must be our culture, because as Moors, we know what happens when we don't uphold our culture, when we don't make it to our meetings, when we're off here slacking, sluggish, lacking. Right? What happens? We experience judgment, right? We're not able to get up and do the things we want to do. Oh, I want to do a business, for example, I want to do this. I want to make money. I want to do this. How can you want anything else when you're not right inside of yourself? If you're not right inside of yourself, having all the money in the world is not going to do anything for you. And praise Allah, because Allah makes it so that we must enter the temple. We must demonstrate, after the Prophet, following the Prophet, and be under the Prophet and under Allah, so that we can get things together, as a community, right? We can't save, our whole community without looking at ourselves first, right? Because this is a self measure. We have to raise ourselves up, and we have to raise the women up, right? We have to raise up the men, and we have to raise up the women as well. And with the raising of the women, Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, when you raise up a woman, you raise up a nation, right? Because mother is the first teacher. You have a woman that's on Moorish Shines, she's going to make sure those babies get Moorish Science. She's going to make sure any baby that comes around her is raised up and knows Moorish Science, right? And you have a man though, Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, you raise up a man, you raise up an individual. So it needs to be both man and woman, right? And if you ever hear that woman and she's talking to you, she's telling you what you need to do, she's calling your bluff. She's trying to see what you're made out of. And if you're a man, you're going to show what you're made out of, right? Actions speak louder than words. I want to see our men be more bold. You know what I'm saying? More courageous. Take more steps towards Allah, right? I want to see that happen on a real level, a real demonstration, on a real draw. Like, I want to see our men do that. Because I was watching a brother's video, and he was discussing how bad the demonstration is with the brothers. He said, our demonstration is terrible. Because look, you can look at our women and children. They're out there running the streets, not clothed properly, not fed properly, don't have any houses, etc. And he's like, you know what, that's our fault as brothers. Like, we need to get it together. We need to bring ourselves up so we can uphold the women. Because if you look at the front of the 101, it shows you that the man with the fez is the only one that can lift up humanity, right? Because as much as when they say, Prophet Noble Drew said, women, right, to have a deeper appreciation for womanhood, right? Woman uplifts the nation. It really takes the man. The man is the leader. Men are always been the leader. It's very symbolical, because even with chapter 22, right, duty of a husband, it says that the woman is weaker. So that must mean that the man is stronger. And you look at the physical body of the man and the physical body of the woman, the man is stronger. So that, to me, symbolically says that the man is the leader, right? So man is like the head, woman is like the heart, and they must be in tune, right? If we're taking this back to the study itself, the heart and mind must be in tune, right? If one of them is off, the study itself is not going to manifest in its highest manifestation or its highest form, right? So if you just have your mind's going, right? You just logical, you're not using your heart, stuff not going to add up. Or if you use your heart, but you never use your mind, your logical side, stuff is not going to add up. So that's why it takes one and the other. It takes the duality. It takes the yin and the yang. It takes that mix, right? It takes that ankh, right? To be able to really bring our people what they need. That's why the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, families are the foundation of a nation, right? So our families must be on this same thing, right? They must be on more science, you know what I'm saying? They must know what a holy day meeting is. They must attend a holy day meeting. They must know what a Sunday school is. They must attend the Sunday school meeting. And I'm not the one to come down and bring down the law and be strict about it, right? Unless I'm strict and impartial to offenders of the law. But even then, I'm not super strict, right? But I'm not like super strict. So I'm like, you know what I'm saying? If we have more science, we have our community, we have our society, etc., we have our nation. And I'm saying you miss a meeting, I'm not going to kick you out. Or I'm not going to say, hey, out of here. It's like, I know that life goes on. And sometimes there may be one reason why you miss, you know what I'm saying, one meeting. You saying? That's fine. That's okay, right? But at the same time, we want to make sure that we are making our meetings, that we're really in this, and that we're really attending our meetings, that we are really present, and that we're active, right? Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, Moors are active. They are not passive, right? And in anything you do, you want to be active in it. Because if you're not active about it and you're passive about it, you're never going to make the progress that you're looking to make. Same thing with Moorish Science. Same formula, same strategy. You must be actively studying Moorish Science every day. You're saying you're new to Moorish Science Temple America, you probably should have this on your heart and mind almost every day, right? You need to have this, you know what I'm saying, you need to take a break and just sit down and just, you know what I'm saying, take it in, right? At least if you can't do it every day, I would say at least on a Friday, right? Attend your meeting and try to study, you know, 1 or 2 days out of the week, like maybe like on a midweek, like Wednesday, and then come back on Sunday and study, and maybe do another day of the week, you know what I'm saying? Have it on your heart and mind. And so in this chapter 19 also, this chapter talks about the silent brotherhood, right? So when you hear the word silent brotherhood or the words silent brotherhood, then what that means is the silent brotherhood, right? When we go and we talk to Allah, it's very, very notable that we have silence, right? When we meditate on the wonders of the love of Allah, it's notable that you must have silence. Silence is what's going to give you a closer relationship, right? So when they have that silent brotherhood, like a lot of the times I open up my meeting and it's silent. I don't say anything, right? That's symbolical of the silence, right? That we must have. Because when there's silence, you can actually hear like frequencies, you know what I'm saying? You can hear different stuff. When you're completely silenced, right? You're not putting out any thoughts and you're just listening. I don't know if you've ever been in a classroom and you've been taking a test, like maybe in a college, and and you hear kind of this sound. That's what I'm, you know what I'm saying, giving to you guys, right? That silence is very symbolical of that silence. Okay. And so this chapter is, you know what I'm saying, very deep, but, you know what I'm saying, it says the same thing. Chapter 19, verse 35. He told the story of his human life, of trials, sore temptation, buffeting, and woes, right? Keyword human life, right? And verse 37, he is the God man of today, but everyone on earth shall overcome and be like him, a son of Allah, right? A son of Allah is a man. That is a true man right there. A son of Allah, right? Not one who's the sons of men, right? Who's just doing and following the crowd. Not the sheeple, right? But the man who's in tune with Allah and who follows Allah and who puts Allah first. That's the type of man that we need in our nation, right? That's the type of man that our women need as husbands. That is the type of man that can carry this world, right? And carry this nation and do it the right way. So yes, so this chapter illustrates, yes, everything that I talked about, right? The life of Jesus, he was 12, verse 2, chapter 19, verse 2. Ravana was the prince with whom the child Jesus went to the India with when 12 years old, right? Because our ancestors are, you know what I'm saying, are from Africa. So, you know what I'm saying, in the past life, if we ain't from Africa in this life, in the past life, we're from Africa. We were on those lands. We were in the Egypt, in the Middle East, and Greece, and Israel, everything over there, right? Chapter 19, verse 15, the gospel of the resurrection of the dead is not confined to Jew and Greek, right? So back in the old days, yeah, that was like our old name, right? Jewish. That's our name, right? Greek. That was us. We the Greeks. We the Jewish ones, right? And so it's not confined to our race alone. That's what Jesus is saying. It's the heritage of every man of every time and every clime. And I am here, demonstrator of the power of man, right? It is very limited to think that we don't have abilities that are greater than just going to work to 9 to 5. No, we have powers of meditation of the mind to really tune in with Allah. And how does this help people? It'll help people to just know themselves a little bit better, to know Allah, because sometimes there's times where you need to call on somebody for strength. There are times when you need to call on somebody for help. And sometimes that's when people get to bargaining with God, bargaining with Allah. Oh, Allah, if you let me have this, then I'll do this. If you let me have this, then I'll do this. And it's like, no, burn all that. Go ahead and demonstrate your holy day how you're supposed to. Pray and meditate frequently. When Ramadan comes, be reading your Quran and be reading your Holy Quran Circle 7, right? And reading your Quran of Mecca, right? If you're new to the Moorish Temple, you might want to read both. You know what I'm saying? And read anything of the Prophet, right? We have the Prophet's oral statements. And here there's so much information. It's like yeah. There's so much information. Let me just read one of them. It says, Sister A. Brown Ill, this is number 210, it says on this one. Sister A. Brown Ill of Temple 4 and 25 said that the Holy Prophet says, some of you Moors are going to throw away your name just for a morsel of bread, right? Okay, so there's a plethora of information in here. These are called the oral hadiths of the Holy Prophet. And so when you hear people, or, a sheikh or a brother or a sister, if you hear them say, oh, the Prophet said this, they're probably quoting from this, or they're quoting from one of the literatures, if not the Holy Quran, Circle 7 itself, right? They're quoting from that. And so I'm going to make this meeting short today. I was a little bit late, and that's on me. I might get on later because I do want to express some of my concerns, right? So I was thinking about having a retreat, right, for certain individuals, and inviting certain individuals to have this retreat with. The biggest thing that is, stopping this retreat is if it will happen, right? If the possibility and plausibility of this happening. Now, I'm just now putting out the spirits of actually manifesting this retreat. However, I don't know if it'll manifest in due time, and it will manifest in due time. Basically, what I'm saying is we need finances, and we need them badly. Never before have we needed finances so badly as we do at present. So I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without the Prophet, being head. This has been proven by my works which I have performed in the past few years, right? This is the only sole foundation upon which Asiatics can rely on for their earthly salvation, right? This is the sole foundation, right? People try to go through these other foundations and go through this and go through that, and it doesn't bring you a deep sense of purpose or a deep sense of fulfillment. So when you come across the truth, it's very attractive to you, and you're like, oh yeah, this is what I should be on. Okay, well, step up, be on that, like step on up and be on it, right? There ain't no time to play, nothing to waste. I'm a zero waste kind of person, right? There's no hold up for that, because I feel like we need to be taking steps, like we need to be 2 steps ahead, and right now I feel like the way things are going, we 2 steps behind, right? And so the brother said, I don't know about, the whole retreat thing, right? He said, why don't we do a dinner? Okay, so maybe we could do a dinner or something like that. we'll have to see, right? Just share one meal together, that might be enough, right? To open up that manifestation, right? And so, yeah, so, oh, also the brother Risa Islam, right? His mother had passed away. She passed her form, and I ended up going to her funeral. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but I went to, you know what I'm saying, the ceremony, and it was a beautiful experience, to say the least. And you know what I'm saying, I had to go and I had to give the brother a gift and everything like that, and give him some healing energy, because I know the pain and the anguish that may come with losing your mother, right? If you don't know that pain, then you don't know it, right? But if you do, then you understand that it's something that's unlike any other. But you know what I'm saying? I came and I, you know, lightly administered to the brother, and honestly, I'm like one of those people where if I don't dress all the way down, I just stand out. Like, I just stick out. Like, I gotta be dressed down in rags and stuff like that for me to get, you know, not noticed. Because any little time I dress up, I stick out so bad. So I was in there, I was in the back, but I know I was sticking out so bad, you know what I'm saying? I came in my sultana wear, you know, so I definitely was sticking out. But it was a great thing. And his mother, Dr. Hanan Islam, she was a great woman. But that's why I said, you get yourself involved in these organizations, and with these kind of things, you go and shaking hands and doing things with these people who are not in your community. And look what they do. They set you up. They lie on you. They, you know what I'm saying, they blaspheme you. You know what I'm saying, they create division and hatred and try to tarnish your name. And I think that that's really, really, really absurd. And I'm saying, that's why I said, let's stick in our community. Like, let's trust one another. Like, let's come together, because I know people are like, you know, oh, I don't know if I want to do this, and yada, 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 blase, blase. And it's just like, come on now, let's get together. Let's learn how to trust one another. And if you're on that vibe, then, you know what I'm saying, you'll be there. You'll be square. And if you're not, then we'll catch you next time, right? And so with that being said, I'm going to close out this meeting. So if you want to pray with us, we stand on a square. Our feet are at a 45-degree angle. 2 fingers up on the right, 5 on the left. And you pray with me. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Jali. Amen. Islam. Also, another thing is, yes, the sister was talking about speaking your thoughts into existence, right? I was reading chapter 19 and something made me think of that. Let me look again really quick. Because she said it's like a ripple, right? The airwaves, you can make a ripple, have the ripple effect in the airwaves. You know, just like you would throw a stone in the water and have a ripple effect, you can also have the same effect in the air. So speaking your truth is what's going to be healing to you. That's what's going to help you to manifest, right? You ever see somebody and you guys are working on a project or something together, and they say, oh no, you're saying, they come with a negative Nancy vibe. We can't do that. And it's like, hold on. Words create, save, and destroy, brother. Make sure that when you're around me, you clean up your words. If I say we're going to do this, you better come with the positive spirit, right? You better have that Brandon spirit. We could do this, right? We got this. You better have that kind of spirit. Like, okay, all right. And so, something in this chapter made me think of that. Oh, yeah. They asked him right here. They asked him right here. They said in chapter 19, verse 25, and all the priests and masters stood and said, oh hell, what message from the royal council do you bring, right? So they're asking him for the message, right? And he comes from the royal council, right? And people might So it's good to speak your messages always, right? No matter what, right? I know that I've had visions of destruction, right? I've seen visions of, destruction. And so it's not that you should hide them, but you should definitely know that we advocate peace. So whatever it is that, you might have to say on a message, go ahead and say it, right? Always speak your truth. Always do that, right? When you withhold yourself from speaking back, you're holding all those nasty vibes, in your body. Like, if you have something that you need to tell somebody, something that happened to you when you were young, or if you have, stuff that you never told anybody about, like, do not take that to the grave. Like, don't be brave and think that you're going to take it to the grave, yada, yada, yada. No, go ahead and sit down with somebody you trust. Let them know the situation, Get the vibes, like, make sure the vibes are right. Sit down, tell them, and make sure somebody you trust, right? And have somebody that you talk to if you have something like that you need to get out of you, that you need to let go. And then if you're a teacher, etc., make sure that you're always putting the message out there. Because the state that our people are in right now, we need that message to be everywhere, right? And that's why I do want to have conferences and retreats, or whatever, meetings basically, and I want them to be once a month. And then I also want them to be in different locations. Like, let's say if we do one in Los Angeles, then eventually we want to do one in Georgia, maybe we want to do one in Florida, maybe we're going to go to New York, right? So I want to have different ones every month, right? Different dinners, different communications, right? Because I don't like saying conversations, because I feel like the word con is in that. So con, con, I don't know, it can mean, you have to look up the etymology, but to me, I don't like that word con, although con does mean with, right? With, or whatever. But then verse, and then H, I don't know. I like the word communication, because I like the word community and commune, right? And common unity, right? I like that word. So I like having dinner, communication dinners where we're communicating with each other, right? Everybody who needs to be in tune, everybody who needs to be on the same page. I'm saying, because if we're the leaders, we all need to be in tune. We all need to be unison and unified, right, with one another, right? We all need to have that. So that's one thing that we do need to be privy to. If anybody wants to have me sit down with the high level communication, everybody tag me in the post, okay? All right, so with that being said, I will close down this meeting. I haven't seen anybody say nothing in here. I've seen a few people join. Okay, but Islam to all y'all that joined. Please come back and watch the video. I will definitely be back on Sunday, and hopefully we get this retreat or the dinner going soon. All right, Islam, peace and love. Peace and love and blessings.